today. I'm Ryan Kruger, and you are?
Hey Ryan, my name is Tom Bocci, and I did the film Arctic, which you know, and we'll see what people think of it.
Yeah. So first of all, congratulations on your movie and the success so far. I really enjoyed your movie. I thought it was really cool. I love the feel of the movie and the music, and yeah, it's just one of those films that we're very proud of to have at our festival. And as filmmakers, we want to get people to watch these movies and all around the world, as well as local content, but also other great filmmakers outside of South Africa. So Tom, tell me a little bit about your film for the audience.
So Arctic is kind of like an anti-comic book film. Like it's basically combines two things that I really loved when I was growing up. Uh, you know, just the idea of comic books and that type of storytelling and researching serial killers. Those are like two things I loved when I was growing up because I'm very, very normal. And,
We
and
all are,
so,
Tom. We all
yeah.
are.
So, yeah, I wanted to do something that felt like uniquely just like the exact 180-degree turn of everything that was kind of like in the mainstream. So there was all these, big, huge blockbuster franchises, and I was attending a lot of festivals with the previous project and a lot of like comic cons, and the people I would meet, it was just so funny the idea that they were very unsatisfied in life, but at like a comic con, they come to life. So I was thinking
Yeah.
that's a great idea for a horror film of a guy who's almost like obsessed with his comic identity, so much so that it kind of bleeds into his real life as a farmer, and he kind of takes the role of either a hero or a villain. Kind
Yeah.
of maybe talking a little bit about how evil the spewing of like the fandom in our current world could be. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, so that was the main idea of that. Plus, I wanted to do something that just felt almost like it. I wanted something that moved a little differently, that didn't tie everything up, and almost that it sounds stupid, but almost that didn't really care about it. Like I'm just like fuck it, just put it on the screen. Let things feel more thematic in their editing, and like you're getting the
Yeah.
vibe rather than kind of more traditional storytelling. So it's kind of like a risky venture. I was just trying it,
But it's
see
cool.
what happens.
But this is your first feature film, right? Isn't it, Tom?
That's right. Yeah, first feature film, and came out in America in the States last year, but internationally, there's still a lot of territories and markets that we're looking into, and so we'll see where we end up after this festival. So it's all in your hands, buddy.
That's cool, man. Well, that's why I'm saying it's great for. I mean, at the end of the day, I always say this: when you make a film, you want people to see it. You want people to check out your movie. So, I mean, how was it perceived in the States?
Oh, I think we did really well. We got into a lot of film festivals here. I received a lot of feedback. We've had a lot of reviews. Still to this day, random people message me as you'll get used to this, but you'll get an email from like someone in a small town you've never heard of that just like,
Yeah,
hey, dude, just saw that movie. Oh man, I had a couple questions about the character, and you're like, I don't even remember. I don't even remember
yeah.
that character. Like, what? So
Yeah, but I think that's the great
but
thing
that's
about when you know your film and you know what it's about and you know all the little things in your film, but then it's also interesting when people watch it and they also see it a different way than you. You know
oh
what I
yeah,
mean? So people
yeah,
see it a different way than you, or look into it in a different way than you go. I never thought about that. You know what I mean? So
right.
it's always interesting from different people's when people are watching it, they see something also sometimes very different than you see it, which is
Yeah,
always quite
and
interesting.
I've had this thing happen a lot where someone says, they come up with this great, like, grandiose, super in depth idea, and they'll be like, is that what you were thinking when you crafted that scene?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
so genius, their idea, that I just have to steal it and go, oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
bomb. But in
yeah.
reality, I was just like, that looks really cool. How that's framed with that. Wow, like it was
Yeah,
just there was no big meaning behind it at all. So.
yeah. So how does it feel though that this is your first feature? This is your first feature, and I'm in that process now, as you know, with my personal film. But how does it feel, for yourself to that you've, I know it was last year that your film came out more, but how does it feel just as doing your first feature and just bringing it out and showing to all these people,
I think really how it felt, especially at first, there's two different sides, but at first it felt like such a relief to finally be done with the idea of getting a first feature done. Because when you start, working in film, the whole deal is like, oh, if I could just direct a feature, if I could just get a chance to direct a feature.
Exactly.
And so do that, it's like a huge weight is just lifted off, and so everything else feels a little more relaxed, and I'm able to accept the fact that it's a piece of art, that it's out there, and that's just it. Its life form kind of continues on its own. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
The second side of it is, okay, well, now I know how to do that, and I realize there's certain aspects that were a lot easier than I thought, a lot harder than I thought. So how do I get to like the next 10? You know what I mean? Let's
Yeah.
do 10 more of these puppies.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
that's the thing, it takes one to roll over to the next one, but
right,
you need number one first, and that's the hardest
right,
one to
right.
do. But now with your second film, it's about your second film now. It's about you've
Yeah,
got to do better than the last film, so it's like the pressure
right,
is on.
right.
So
And what's yeah.
yeah, sorry, carry on, Tom. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, what's great about that too is you kind of you learn a lot from your first one. So it's almost like
Absolutely.
the problems that you thought were the biggest problems on your first one, now you kind of realize, especially after some time has passed, with hindsight, that really those are things you can kind of handle on your sleep now. So you're on to trying to problem solve much bigger things. And so, yeah, so we'll see what happens from here. You know what I mean? But it's after your first one's done, I would venture to say that everything after that is just almost like very exciting, because it's such uncharted territory, because you've been thinking about you've been imagining
Yeah.
what it was like once you do that first one for
Yeah.
years. And now
Exactly. Years.
it's like
Exactly.
I'm a new baby, because I've only been
Yeah.
in existence feature film for like a year and a half, or a year. So
Exactly, man. That's cool
it's
though, dude. That's really cool.
yeah.
So where did you shoot the movie?
We shot it in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So
Ah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually remember you did actually tell me that in a conversation
yeah,
that we
yeah,
had. And then, so where did you find Jerry? The bad guy. He's got like such presence in the in
yeah.
the in the movie.
Yeah, so basically, it was a very odd experience, because originally we were talking to a professional wrestler by the name of John Huber, who now wrestles as the Exalted One in AEW. He used to be in WWE as Luke
Okay.
Harper, part of the Wyatt family. And so that build was like kind of the ideal depiction of what Arctic should be. And then when that fell through, literally the next day, somehow I saw a trailer for a movie that Jerry was in, and contacted him. And almost right away, he was just like, yeah, this sounds exactly like what I've been looking to do. So,
Yeah.
Basically, it was like first he fit the look, and then after talking to him, we kind of bonded, and yeah, he just kind of knew the character and had some interesting ideas for it. One of his ideas was bringing Arctic has this interesting half leather, almost like costume he wears that goes over his shoulder, and that was
Yeah.
kind of a Jerry invention, and little things were added along the way. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it happened. It was just this weird, almost like the universe put him in front of me. He's like the
Yeah. Yeah.
exact someone I was looking for, So
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's one of those things. That's the great thing about filmmaking, where things just fall into place. As you're making it, it
right,
just whatever's going to be will be, and organically, it's the right time, and everything just falls into place. And that's I
yeah,
love that when you think one thing and then something else happens, and you're so surprised, but it's just right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what's awesome about it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, Tom, with the music, I really enjoyed the music in the movie. But you didn't you say yourself, didn't you do the music as well for it?
So I worked with a composer named Corey Wallace who did a really
Okay.
awesome job. What was cool about that is it was kind of a collaborative effort. So he would lay down something that sounded great, and my directive was, let's make it sound broken, meaning like let's not take instrumentation that's broken, let's actually make it sound like a song is breaking in the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
rather than a drum hit, it's like we would hit the snare and like the skin would snap. That's the type of snares I want. Instead of just like a normal, snare
Yeah.
hitting, let's have it be like a,
Yeah.
weird tones and sounds. And so basically what he would do is lay down some of that. And then when it came time to the guitars and just a few other things in terms of placement and organization, he would sometimes lay things out that were very, like they made sense. And I'd be like, let's make this not make sense. Let's make it really feel broken. So I would take a guitar and detune it and, take the A strings and put it over the E string and just play it all crazy and bend the neck back and get these weird sounds.
Yeah.
And
I mean, music is so important, especially in
yeah,
like a horror film. You
right,
know what I mean? Especially in a horror film, but in all films. I mean, I think less and less people think about that. I think a
right,
lot, it's like when we were kids and we would watch all these movies, a part of the memory would be that music, whether it
right.
was Indiana Jones or Back to the Future
Terminator 2.
or whoever, and you would just
Yeah,
hear that music, and it's so important.
right,
It's the tone of the movie, it's the feel of the movie, and
right.
and I think this music in your film, it's a big part of the movie. I really enjoyed that, that music and that journey, and how like offbeat it was, and how, like you said,
Yeah,
how broken it was and stuff like that. So
yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, I think if people at the SA Indie Film Fest wants to watch a great horror feature film, then Arctic is definitely one to watch. And Tom, thank you so much for coming to speak to us. And you're based in LA right now, right?
Yes, sir. Los Angeles.
Cool, man. Well, I wish you all the success still to come with your movie. It's a great movie, and uh, I'm looking forward to what you're going to do next.
Me too. Let's
Yeah.
let's see what
But we won't
happens.
speak about that. You keep that close to you. And but yeah, it'll be great to chat again. And I hope if anybody goes and checks out Arctic, drop Tom a line, tell him what you think. And yeah,
Awesome.
cool.
Thank you so much,
Okay,
man.
cool. No worries, Tom. You keep well, man, and we'll chat again soon.
Awesome. Enjoy the movie.
Cool, man. Cool, cool.